in a interesting story today from The Athletic and Chad Graff. We might have ourselves a little bit of a source war. We'll get into that in a bit. Some of the young players for the Red Sox today had good days. I'll update you on those. And I have betting odds on where some of the free agents will end up. The Patriots are favorites to sign a couple of them. And I have the NFL draft odds as well. So we'll give those to you in the next 25 minutes or so here on 98.5 this. First year leading the front office, free agency brought in, well, they missed. They were not good. Chuks Okorafor, just to headline that list. And he really missed in the draft class outside of Drake May. It was just a complete bust. Just awful. But he's back again. And he says he's the guy making the calls. We'll find out on that one. I'm at the discretion to tell you that I feel that it is Mike Vrabel. But Wolf said yesterday, we're going to do what we think is best, and we're going to do what's necessary. So last year, we didn't do enough of what was necessary. This year, we have to do what's necessary to improve the team. So I'll just start there by saying talent. A lot of people talk about free agency and how the class might be down this year. Well, I don't know. Isn't that better than to spend money on actual good players and upgrades? You don't have to break the bank. You can give a guy a shot on a short-term deal, maybe. I feel like this is the year for the Patriots to take advantage if it's a down year. And I know they have the most money, and I know they have another top 5 pick. Elliot Wolf noted he believes the Patriots are a better free agent destination than they were at a time than last year. And I agree with that. Mainly because of Drake May, who's been a big part of all these free agent pitches. Still, though, they're going to need to outspend the competition to land some of the better players available, and that's fine. Do it. The blueprint for the offseason does not include T. Higgins. This, according to Chad Graff of The Athletic. As the Patriots are reshaped in Mike Vrabel's likeness, they want to prioritize building through the offensive line and defensive lines, and will make that the goal number one in the offseason. So I just want to mention that Chad Graff in this article says that the Patriots right now does not include pursuing T. Higgins. Out. Just want to let you guys know, Boston Sports Journal, Mike Giardi says that's not the case. So maybe that's just the Patriots trying to throw out the fact that, we're still in there. And I'm sure they're not. But I love the fact that they're building through the lines. And maybe that's where their biggest free agent signings will come from. In the trenches, not wide receiver. The game is always won on the lines. Offensive, defensive line, Elliot Wolf said. Not just because the Eagles won the Super Bowl. It's always been that way. And if the Patriots' offseason goes as planned, their offensive and defensive lines will be dramatically transformed over the next 2 months. Love that. I feel like at times if maybe you don't have the top 5 pick available that you're looking for. Like last year, they identified Drake May as a top 3 pick. Now they have the 4th pick. If the guys that they identify aren't there, maybe you take the best available. I don't know. Maybe you take the best available lineman, D lineman, whatever. But I wanted to mention that their offensive line, as we know, was horrible, but I thought their defensive line at times was worse. And their linebacker play might have been one of the worst in the NFL. So I like the fact that they have some sort of blueprint this year, and it's about improving both the lines. But a couple of names to monitor as the Patriots plan to make over their defensive line in free agency. Josh Sweat, who had a huge Super Bowl. Milton Williams, another guy on that Eagles defense. This is all per Chad Graff of The Athletic. Mentions offensively, expect them to sign multiple starting offensive linemen as they target a guard and a tackle. The bulk of their free agent spending will likely come in those two areas. I like that. they need to upgrade both lines. And I know yesterday they told Devin Godshaw that he can go seek a trade. I'm curious what you can get in return. I know Judon was a 3. Godshaw is a 4. And I still think he's a great run defender. I do. But looks like they want to go in a different direction there. Not to mention he's one of those guys who was talking last year. And I'm sure Mike Vrabel's already got a list of guys he'd prepare to move on from. I thought they should have moved him at the deadline, but whatever. With the Patriots being out on Higgins, according to Chad Graff, again, Mike Giardi of the Boston Sports Journal says that they're not. The remaining group of free agent wide receivers are not looking overly impressive. New England's going to feel out the trade market for a receiver. According to a league source, a slew of high-end receivers already available. They've already made themselves available, like Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel. The Patriots are using this week at the Combine to plant seeds on a potential trade. So there could be some interesting trade scenarios there. But the Patriots are planning to make calls about other receivers too. They know the free agent class isn't great. And the same goes for the top of this draft class of receivers. So to improve at the position, they could turn to the trade market. All right. I know this time of year things are wild, right? You hear reports, you hear certain things. We're hearing at one point that they're not interested in T. Higgins, and then another report comes out within the day saying that's not the case. The Patriots saying that the class isn't great, the free agent class isn't great, and then that the top of the draft isn't great either at receiver. What makes you think that they're not going to take a receiver there? Like, I understand that going to the offensive and defensive line should be what this team does, and probably what Mike Vrabel will do. But I'm just not going to take it at their word or at this article's word that they're not interested in a receiver and that they don't think the receivers are good. I know if Travis Hunter falls to 4, you have to think about it. I'm probably not going to do it, but I'd at least think about it. Like, how could you pass on that? So you're going to hear a lot over the next week and at the Combine and up until free agency about teams that might be in on this guy or that guy. It's all smoke. So the Patriots have themselves a nice little draft chest of 4 top 100 picks. Plus, the rookies from this year should take a jump. At least I'm expecting it. The team needs to do more to bring in young players. They need to bring these young guys along. My takeaway, Vrabel's in charge. Last year, they tried to weaponize the offense. It was a fail. That was the big word. Weaponize, burn cash. They did neither. They couldn't protect the quarterback. The running game was awful. They gave up 140 yards in consecutive games. Their defensive line and linebackers were bad. They are looking at upgrading in the trenches, similar to how the Eagles won. I think when you're at the top of the draft like this and you're not drafting towards team need, you just need better players. I like the approach. But again, I'm not going to dismiss that they're not in on T. Higgins or looking at wide receivers in those 4 top 100 picks. I'm just not buying that one. There's a lot here I want to get into in a bit. I have some odds on some of the free agents and where the Patriots could be, as you know, so they're favorites for a couple of guys. But also, what do they do with the number 4 pick? And with Abdul Carter announcing that he's got a foot issue, what does that do at the top of the draft? We'll get into that coming up on the other side. I'm Joe Murray. We're here for about another half hour or so. And I know that we have a giveaway tonight too, Skaz, as well? No? Okay. Well, we'll go to break then. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
we were kind of jawing back and forth as he left last night. And I said, you're not the only one that played two-way swim. Like, there were some other guys that did this too. and he kind of like looked at me and we laughed.
Vrabel played tight end and linebacker. Anyways, I'm not out on the Travis Hunter thing, by the way. Like, I think he's one of the top. I mean, I'll just say it. He's a top 5 player in this draft, but I think he really is one of the best players. Now, last year, when it was Drake May or Marvin Harrison, I was Drake May all the way. And I do think that the Patriots do have needs, but they also just need better players. And Travis Hunter is one of those. So I will not dismiss that if Travis Hunter is available at 4, that they wouldn't take him. But Chad Graff, the blueprint, Mike Vrabel, etc., it might be best for this team to build in the draft from the trenches, and I'm fully on board with it. I'm just trying to tell you I'm not dismissing the fact that if Hunter's there, they might still look at him. Which brings up my next take. What happens with the Patriots and with the number 4 pick, and has the draft situation now changed? I mean, the Patriots said they're willing to hear other teams' offers for the number 4 pick, but they did last year. And just remember, the Giants wanted Drake May. They would have moved up and given our first-round pick next year, but they got Drake May. That was reported. So they're not motivated to move back, but it would take a big offer for them to trade up. Now, I think with all these quarterbacks that could be on the board here, the Patriots are in a really good spot. If they want offensive or defensive line, they can move back a little bit. So I wouldn't be upset if they did move back and acquire more picks, because as yesterday Adam Schefter said, picks from 10 to 35, they're all in the same ballpark. So I have no problem if they wanted to move back to get the right guy that they've identified. But the more likely scenario is that, these quarterbacks at the top, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, do they fall out of the top 3? Because I don't see that happening. I think teams are going to move up. The Patriots could be content to stay with the number 4 pick. And if Mason Graham's there, I have no problem taking him at the 4th pick overall. I think he's the best defensive lineman in the draft. The Will Campbell stuff at 4, I don't love, but if they've identified the player, fine. They need it. They also said, though, they'd spend for that in free agency. So that's why I'm trying to tell you that I think if Travis Hunter was there, I think he'd still be a consideration. Here's the other one, that if he's still there. Abdul Carter, not going to work out at the combine right now. He had tests that revealed he has a stress reaction in his right foot, and he may possibly have surgery. So there are mixed opinions on whether he'll need surgery or not. I guess we'll have to wait a little bit. Drew Rosenhaus was talking about this earlier today. So I wanted to give you the odds for the number 1 overall pick this year. And Cam Ward is the favorite to go number 1. Now, is it the Tennessee Titans who do that? I don't know. Like, I think the Giants at 3 want Shedeur Sanders. And Josh, our intern, big Giants fan, is no. I can see him out of the corner of my eye. But here are the odds for the number 1 pick. Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart moving up the list, and Mason Graham. So let's just let's have a little hypothetical here. Let's say the 3 quarterbacks are off the board, and the Patriots are sitting at 4. Let's say Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. I'll just use those 2. They're off the board. Well, let's say Cleveland took Travis Hunter. Would the Patriots be interested in Abdul Carter at 4? Yes. This is what I mean. I would not dismiss Travis Hunter. I would not dismiss Abdul Carter. And I would not dismiss Mason Graham. Any 3 of those players that get drafted at 4, I'm in. Now, Mason Graham is probably the one that makes the most sense because of the way that they're talking and the way that they want to build. But man, if Abdul Carter's there, in. And if Travis Hunter's there, I'm not opposed to it. Now he'll probably be a corner, and now you have two young corners to build around, and you can go plug and play defensive linemen and linebackers. To give you another one, they're the favorites to sign Zach Bond. People like him, right? There you go. Spend the money, you get another linebacker. You can find defensive linemen. You can pay for guys like that. If Sweat's the guy, boom. So I would not be opposed to Travis Hunter. And the Abdul Carter thing, if he falls to them at 4 now because of the injury, oh, blessing. Absolute blessing. But I think the key to this draft is what Cleveland does. I really do. Like, do they go after another quarterback? Like, does Jackson Dart take this huge leap and somehow go second? And Shedeur Sanders goes third to the Giants? That means that Carter and Hunter are on the board with Graham. And I'm telling you right now, if they went with Graham, I think there would be an uproar. I do. It's going to be really hard to pass on Carter. And I'm telling you, Travis Hunter, really hard to pass on that guy. So in that case, if I was the Patriots and that was the scenario, trade back with the Raiders. Now you have a better decision. Do you go with Graham or Campbell? But if these three guys are on the board at 4, the Patriots really, they really ran into one of these guys. I know everyone wants to give Elliott Wolf credit for selecting Drake May, but when it falls to you and you get the right guy, that would be great if they could run into one of those guys. Real quick, because I know we have the Bruins coming up against the Islanders. I watched Marcelo Mayer play today. Man, he looks good. I'm kind of glad that everything I've heard about the kid was he's hurt. He's probably going to be a left fielder. Like I've heard a lot of just negative things about the guy. Yet he's one of the top prospects in baseball. Today, ho-hum, 3 for 3. Had a home run, had a blooping double that I really liked. Kid looks legit, man. And I know I've heard a lot about Campbell. I've heard a lot about Roman Anthony. Don't forget about this Marcelo Mayer kid. I think he could be the next shortstop. Maybe he is the next third baseman. I don't know. Kid looked legit today. Campbell's looked good, too. I know Roman Anthony's had a little bit of a setback with the arm thing, but, man, they got something here with these three guys. The other thing I wanted to mention on the Red Sox, it sounds like Rafael Devers is probably going to take grounders for the first time tomorrow. So it's been Bregman that's been playing at third. But Devers dealing with the shoulder injury. He's now going to get some throws in maybe this weekend and play in a game next week. But they were together, working together today. And starting to get a little excited. For B season. Finally, Bruins in action tonight. They take on the Islanders. Neither team has won since the break. And the Bruins will be without Trent Frederick tonight. He's going to be week to week. It was a tough blow when him going down the other night, as he's probably one of the top trade chips. Does the injury hurt potentially a restocking? Like, does it hurt maybe the value in the pick that comes now in a trade? I know guys get traded hurt, but tough time for that to happen. But he's listed as week to week. So we'll see how the Bruins play tonight. They need this one. They need this one tonight. 0-2-2